Well, hello and welcome to this session of QML. This is QML 31, and we will be reviewing our You Matter with Mike survey results. Our guest today will be our CEO, Mike Marrow. I want to make a quick little note here. There's a question and answer tab. Feel free to use that. Submit any questions or comments that you have. Mike will be asking for your comments in this presentation, so just want to make sure you're aware of that. We would love to hear from you today. So with that, let's turn things over to Mike for our presentation. Mike, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing pretty good, Jeremy. Thank you very much. And you?
I'm doing well. Looking forward to hearing this presentation today.
All right, fantastic. Well, happy Tuesday, everyone. And we're going to spend the next 30 minutes going through how did we do and what did we learn during our employee surveys during the course of the second quarter. So if we go to the next slide, Jeremy's going to drive and I'm going to opine. There we go. All right. Very cool slide number one. And when I look at this, what's up there? Well, there's 3 years of data. There's all the questions we had in the second quarter, questions 7 through question 13. And we call them questions, but they're actually statements. And you all have taken the survey. The statement is something like Qualfon is effective at communicating. And we have 4 choices. We can strongly agree, disagree, or strongly disagree. And purposely, we don't have a sitting on the fence option, right? The I'm not sure. So we all got to make a choice. And what these scores represent is how do we do on that scale of 1 to 4? And as you can see, the lighter blue bars, that's 2020. The middle dark bar, that's 2019. And the one on the left that's sort of, I don't know, turquoise, that's 2018. And in every question during the second quarter of 2020, we have improved year over year. And just, it's not here because we're talking about the second quarter, but this trend has continued into the third quarter on question number 14. We've been doing this for like 7 years, and so it's going to take me at least 2 years to quit calling them questions. So when I say question, I really mean statement. Statement number 14, that was an increase year over year, and we scored 3.25. Statement number 15 was an increase year over year, and we scored a 3.35. And I believe 3.35, you can see that on statement/question 10. We scored that. I don't believe we've ever had anything higher than that. If we have, that certainly ranks right up there near the top of what we've scored. So fantastic. I think it's also worth mentioning that as time goes by, people's expectations increase. So what we had to do to say achieve a score of 3 last year, we have to do more this year just to achieve the same score of 3. So not only are the scores going up, the scores are going up in the face of increased expectations. So this is fabulous. And it's because of all of you who are on this Teams meeting. All right, next slide, please. So this is just evidence that we can be fun. We put together this presentation and we went through it and we were looking at it and we were asking, well, what are we trying to say here? Well, we're trying to show, you know, the divide or the split or the percentage of how many people are agreeing with one of the statements versus disagreeing with one of the statements. And then we looked at it and we said, what it really means is who's happy and who's not. So we called it the happy versus the sad slide. And what's fantastic here again is that You know, it's our happy quotient of 85.92. What's great is there's a lot of blue and there's not a lot of, I don't know what I'd call it, the other colors. But our mission says be the best. So we want to continue to make those little pieces on the right smaller and smaller and smaller. And if you think back to the previous slide, that's happening because the scores are going up and up and up year after year. So again, fabulous. If we go to the next slide. We went through this this presentation a number of times, and we corrected all our spellings, and we reworded some things to clarify the message. And every one of us that went through it, there's 4 or 5 of us, we missed the fact that we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down at the bottom, and it should be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So continuous improvement. Next time we do this in a quarter, we'll make sure we have the bars labeled correctly. But this is another great slide. Every one of them, you know, our minimum expectation for Qualfon, if we were teleperformance, maybe our minimum expectation would be anything over 2. But we're not teleperformance. We're not StarTech. We're not any of the other ones. We're Qualfon, and we say we want to be the best. So we think that if people agree with one of these statements, we're doing okay. So at a minimum, we want to, on average, agree. 4 is kind of a lofty goal, but agree is good. Better than agree is great. So we have a goal of 3. We really like to see it at 3.2 or better. And as you can see, in a lot of cases in this quarter, we did surpass the 3.2. And in every single one, 100% of the 7, we achieved at least a 3. And only one of them were we at the level 3. So again, beautiful. This doesn't happen by happenstance or mistake, or it just happens. This happens because the leadership of this company is working really hard to make people's lives better. And when we do that, their perceptions translate into these kinds of scores. So again, thank you all very much for this. Next slide, please, Mr. Jeremy. This is an interesting slide. And I look at this, and here's where you can use that Q&A tab. I'd love to hear some feedback. So I look at this and I say, okay, this is the participation. So of all of the agents in the company, 57% of them took the survey. Now, not every one of them receives an email. They use kiosks. Some do get an email and take the survey via the email. Some use kiosks and so on. And, you know, nearly 60% of our agent population is participating. That's pretty good. We've been doing it for a long time. People could lose interest, but again, the feedback, the posting of the scores, the feedback that you all provide to our workforce on what are we doing, how are we using the information, encourages people to continue to participate. Now, the next one is supervisors. And as far as I know, the supervisors do get an email that they are encourages them to, hey, the survey's ready, please take the survey. It takes 15 seconds. If you're really reflective and you really think hard and long about your answer, it takes 16 seconds. And so 73%, yeah, I guess, you know, a supervisor's running around, they're getting a bunch of emails, they may not have time to respond to every one of them. If they click on this and see it and 2 seconds later, they're distracted and their intent is to come back and take the survey, and then they forget about it, and 3 days has gone by and it's too late. Maybe. That's a possible reason, but I don't know if that's 26% of the population. So question is, we've done a lot of work in terms of looking at the technology backwards, forwards, left, right, inside out, top to bottom, trying to find and eliminate any obstacles to people participating in the survey. And so maybe there are other obstacles I'm not aware of. And if you're aware of some, let us know, because we really want to eliminate obstacles. And then the last bar, which is, I think the majority of those on this call fall into the orange bar. And so my question is that, again, what are the obstacles? I would think that understanding how our workforce is feeling, whether they perceive that we value their opinions, that we care about their success, that they would refer us to a friend. I would think that'd be really important information for anyone in a management role to understand. And I would think that anyone who's in a management role would also want to be not just a user of the information, but a participant in the process. And so I take the survey every 2 weeks. I have for 7 years or 7.5 years, however long we have been running this. I am 100% confident I have never missed a single time. And again, what is the 34% of management that is not participating? How come? Is there a feeling that maybe it's not anonymous? It is. I can guarantee you it is. Is it, I don't understand, hey, I'll do it later, because it takes longer to think, hey, I'll do it later, than to actually take the survey. So again, if you have some thoughts on that, please pop them in. I would love to hear from you, because I think this should be, honestly, I think this bar should be a 90% bar. But maybe I'm crazy, but I think if we all are engaged in this, that's the sort of participation we would like to see. All right, next slide, please. So this is participation by site for our agents, and there's a fairly big spread here. What I see in this chart is the majority of all of our sites have a better than 50% participation. And if I am a site leader or part of management, whatever it is, and I'm not just saying ops management, person office, IT, you name it. When I look at my site and say, how can I encourage participation? Because the more the merrier. The more people that participate, the more we will learn, the more we will know. Because remember, it's not just clicking a box that I agree or disagree. It's the comments, the 1,000, 1,500 comments we get every 2 weeks that we can learn from, and we can take the temperature of what's going on in our business. So if I'm falling into that zone, how can I just tick it up another % or 2? And then if I'm falling in the 20%, 40%, 43%, what's going on? Maybe there's a big technology issue. Maybe I don't have enough kiosks. Maybe I don't know. But I would want to know why my site is not participating. Then on the next slide, Jeremy. Here's the supervisors. And again, here we have a higher level of participation. If we go back to the slide with the just 3 bars. The highest level of participation was the supervisors, and here the most sites where we have participation exceeding 50% is again the supervisors. And this is terrific. But again, hey, how can we be the best? How can we have the best participation? And if I'm getting a 60%, how do I get it to 65 or 70? Because every single additional person who participates helps us learn. And then if I have low participation, what do I need to do? Either to remove obstacles or to encourage people, show them the value, the utility of this and how it helps us as a company manage. And then finally, next slide, this is the management. Again, I guess I would ask the question, anything below 70 or 80% on our management, that's us. What's holding us back from participating, and how can we encourage participation? If I don't know if I did a correlation diagram, would the little dots line up that say in sites where the management participates more, we actually use in actually taking the survey? Are those the same sites where agents and supervisors participate more? And is those the sites where people are happier and giving higher scores? I don't know, but I would suspect there is some sort of correlation there. Okay, next slide, please. This is interesting. I kind of felt before I ever saw this, and we added this question, it was probably 6 months ago, maybe a little more. Time flies. But one of the things we were always wondering about was, do people who've been around for a long time score us higher or lower or about the same as people that have been around for a short period of time? And me, the sometimes glasses half empty kind of guy, I was pretty sure that the longer people have been around, the lower they're going to score us, because going back to that idea, every year expectations go up. What this year is new and cool and interesting, next year is expected. So it's harder and harder and harder to get someone who's been here 3 years, 5 years, 7 years to say, yeah, I really agree with that. But this kind of blew my philosophy out of the water. It does show over time a slight degradation, but not a lot. I was actually kind of happy that people that have been around for more than 2 years are saying, yeah, I agree, or I more than agree. There's a little bit of a drop off between I'm brand new and I've been here long enough to know everything's not perfect, from a 3.48 to a 3.29. But after that, it's just kind of a little bit of a trickle down year after year. I was really happy when I saw this. I thought, this is great. We are keeping people engaged, and they're seeing the benefit of being part of this organization well after they're new employees. Okay, so next slide. And this is a repeat of what we saw just a minute ago. Again, the notion that I may be wrong, but I don't think I am, that over time our expectations increase. Over time, what was novel and creative last year is just sort of status quo and old news this year. So we have to keep refreshing, keep doing new things, keep generating interest year after year in order to maintain, good scores and good perceptions on the part of the people that participate in the survey. And I think it's amazing when I look at this slide that we're accomplishing that. So it is not just automatically, if we do a little bit more, we're going to get a better score. We have to do a little bit more every year just to maintain the score. We have to do a lot more to get a better score. So congratulations to all of you. And I think this is a testament, again, to all the hard work and all the creativity and all the interest that people pay in attention to, not just on the survey, but all the things we do to make people's lives better, to help them be successful, to make them feel like we have a healthy environment, to help them enjoy their jobs, all the things we do that result in these scores. And if we go on to the next slide, Jeremy, this was interesting. Number one, interesting is there's not really much of a difference in perception from people working from home with people working in the site. And we don't have years of data, but we have enough for the vast majority of the second quarter. We had a lot of people working at home. So that's very interesting. And the other interesting part of this slide is, if you think, I wonder how much of our employee base is at home today. Well, a picture is worth 1,000 words. All you have to do is look at this picture, and the dark part of the bar represents the portion of the population at home, and the green portion of the bar represents those in sites. And I look at this and I instantly know there's a mix, right? Some sites are more at home than on site, but overall, it's clear that, you know, the majority of the entire workforce is working at home. And we might ask, well, why isn't it the same in every site? Well, because there's differences. If we look at Billings, Billings is an at-home site. Everyone works at home. If we look at Robbinsville, Robbinsville is a production, sort of manufacturing, print, warehouse site. And if we are packaging and shipping goods, it's pretty hard to do that without coming to the site. All right, next slide, please. This slide is the contest of the dots. Each of those dots on the map represent the percentage of participation. So the more you participate, the bigger your dot. And when I first saw this slide, I said, I didn't realize that's what controlled the size of the dot. And I immediately looked at this and said, this isn't fair. You know, India is just as important as everywhere else. We need to give them a bigger dot. And I was told that the dot is based on that P number, which is percentage participation. So all my friends in India, I can't help you. The only way to get a bigger dot is more of you have to participate. So if everyone takes the survey, then you can have the biggest dot on Earth. And if we move on to the next slide, please. This one shows in blue, those were the scores last year, and in red overlaid on that, that's the scores this year. Back on the previous slide, we only had questions 7 through 13. This is all the questions for the year. And so you can see, hey, guess what? Every single survey this year, we have done better than the prior year. So we like to use acronyms, and where at the top it says score PY, that's prior year. And score CY, that's current year. We probably should have spelled that out, but again, fantastic. Every single survey, we're doing better. And the survey is the end result, right? What we're really doing better on is helping people enjoy their jobs, all the things that go into that. We're really doing better at listening and all the things that go into that. We don't get a better score by hoping to get a better score. We get a better score because people are taking action. So That's fabulous, and thank you. And I am predicting that the red is going to be better than the blue for the rest of the year. And if you remember back a few slides, I had gave you a sneak preview on questions 14 and 15. We are continuing that trend. And finally, this is the second time I did this Friday, and I thought I'd be better this time and go faster and leave more time for questions, but apparently I failed, and I apologize for that. But just quickly, what we have here is just a smattering. There's literally dozens, maybe hundreds of things we're doing around the world to be the best, and just a few things that they're doing in various sites is, weekly leadership meetings to discuss what was learned from the most recent survey, both the score and the comments, action plans to take actions on what we're hearing, what we're seeing, recognition of leaders that maybe are called out in the comments. We only share the positive comments. So if there was a comment that said, Jeremy's the best facilitator that ever lived, we might put that up on a kudos board. And if the comment said, Mike's the worst presenter we've ever seen, well, we wouldn't want to embarrass Mike and put that on a kudos board. And then in the Philippines in particular, just an awesome leadership award. And that's people that are called out over and over multiple times of just being really great leaders. And there we have it. Those are the results of the quarter 2 survey. This was QML. What was this? 31?
30.
So yeah, and I don't know what the Qualfon mission leader. I was thinking it was quarterly because when we first started this, we did these quarterly, and we did them quarterly for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. And they seemed pretty popular, and we had an unlimited supply of topics. So maybe a year and a half ago, we went monthly, and there we have this one in the bag, other than 3 minutes if we have some hot questions that we'd love to address and share some answers.
We do have some, Mike, and in fact, I just wanted to remind everyone that after tomorrow's session is over, we will send out an email with answers to all of the questions that we've received. So no question will go unanswered. Mike, here's a question that I've heard you answer, and I'm glad someone asked this. The question is there a possibility to include this survey as a mandatory requirement?
No. We want to have people. So there's 2 things. One is if it's mandatory, we can't gauge participation. So when I look and I see, 40% participation, there's a few possible reasons, and I asked for that. One of them might be apathy. If we force everyone to participate, maybe we lose insights into, if people are truly feeling engaged and want to be engaged. And the other thing is if you made it mandatory, I would have to have something that says, okay, I knew Jeremy took the survey, and that eliminates that anonymous confidentiality that no names are ever associated with any survey responses.
Great. Thank you very much. Now we're about out of time.
What we can do is every one of us can make a commitment to ourselves to make it mandatory. So it's mandatory that Mike Marrow participates in the survey every 2 weeks.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. And we're out of time. As I mentioned, we'll collect all the questions and send out an email with Mike's answers to each of those. We want to thank Mike for facilitating today and thank each of you for joining QML 31. And we will see you for QML 32 next month.
And my apologies for being so verbose and not leaving enough time for questions.
That's all right, Mike. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Jeremy.
Bye-bye.